I've spent a little time working with patterns, like you. But unlike you, I have experimented extensively. Hey, look, lots of files, lots of other folders. There's stuff in these folders. There's more pattern tests over here and different patterns and other folders with patterns. And then there's this, which is my most recent stop, where I've discovered, I think, a way to work smarter than I have throughout this entire process. Okay, prior to that last folder I showed you, this one here where, what is this? It's got a 1A and a 1B, and inside the 1A is a 1A.ai, and inside the 1B is a 1B.ai. And you can see, hey, there's JPEGs here that are associated with this 1A, and they're named according to the idea that we are going to be creating thousands, literally thousands of patterns. If we don't have a way to organize our files, there is no way we can run a business. So I need you to understand that this type of workflow, look, a whole bunch of patterns, a whole bunch of different swatches, different colored patterns. They obviously involve different types of art. Okay, these are just some experiments that I ran in this particular file where I'm already starting to get to a naming convention. And hey, look, it's called 5A, so there must have been a 1, 2, 3, 4 before this. And I'll tell you right now, there are 6, 7, 8s and stuff like that after it that are involved in just playing around, trying to discover things. But this is what I want you to do. Notice how in this file, there's only one piece of art. And I can zoom in on it to show you. Hey, look, it's pretty simple. And that's on one layer. And of course, this file is 1920 by 1080. It's CMYK. They're both CMYK. And they're both the same size. And the reason they're both the same size, so we can save out JPEGs that are the same size. Okay, we need to become standardized in order to collect all our work and build a catalog. Okay, this is huge what we're doing. So there's only 2 layers. On one layer has art. You want to do different art? Well, open up a different file. 1C or 5A or whatever you want to call these things. These names aren't really important other than it would be nice if they were associated with the imagery, but I can't figure out how to name this file, baby blue and pink rectangles. But on the second layer, let me Command 0 so we can get back here. All there is a rectangle. And this rectangle is exactly, what do you think? 1920 by 1080. And the reason it's that size, remember, so we can export these files and keep them associated with this Illustrator file so you can keep track of things. Now, this isn't all that developed. And in this, as I click on the pattern swatches, and see this? See this right here? What is this? That's because I forgot to turn off the graphic on the bottom layer. Okay? So the elements that these patterns were made from. So now I have these patterns and I can save out JPEGs of the ones I like. Let's say I like this one, huh? So I can File, Export, Save for Web. And we're still doing this because we're talking about image size. And we'll get to the export as and the reasons for staying here later on. I don't know, maybe next year, who knows. But for right now, when we save for web, I have asked you, first of all, this thing should be full screen. I'm working on 2 different size monitors, so things don't always show up as I expect. Look, 1920 by 1080. This is okay for your blog now. This is okay. JPEG high, JPEG. This is 60%. Okay, the one thing I didn't do is I didn't pay attention to the name of this. If I roll over it, it's 1B7. Okay, the name of the swatch and the name of the JPEG need to be associated with one another so you can find it. Get it? Get it? So now I'm going to save for the web using my shortcut, the way I always do it. And quality 60. 60 for this purpose is just fine. And notice those lines. For the most part, they start to disappear. Okay, we'll talk more about it. There is a way to make them go away, but it's a lot of work that, well, let's just leave it at that. And we go ahead and save this out. And what was it? 1B7. I'm going to hit the right arrow and put a 7 there. But I'm not just going to save it anywhere. I'm going to go into that folder. Once you do this once, the program will remember when you save your next file while you have this open. If I go to 1B8 and save this for the web, and see how easy that is? I can just hit return, and now you see it's in the right folder. I get the right arrow and name it 8. And you can go through and name all your files. And then back in the Finder, you have, I'm in Dropbox, so that's why these syncing things were happening. You have these files which now are collected in a coherent manner, and we can begin to work smarter as a team, because when we collect everyone's Illustrator files, it's really important that you work in this manner without using, this mess that I have over here. This was an experiment, but now because I experimented this way and I want to save some of these, I have to go ahead and copy out and make an Illustrator file that I can use if I want to refer to it a couple years from now. You think I'm going to remember this? There's no chance in the universe. So I'm going to have to take the shape that made the individual patterns that I'm interested in and say I want to find these patterns. Well, I need to find the shape that this pattern came from and put it in a file, that shape all by itself on this art layer. And then my pattern swatches will be in this new file, will be able to be applied into this rectangle just by clicking. Okay, you have to select the rectangle. Do you get that? It's kind of a long video, but I excuse me, I absolutely positively need you to work this way. Otherwise, everything we're doing is for naught. All right, wrap your head around this. If you have to, play the video again. And the best way to start is to go back to the work you really like and make a new file and create those patterns again. You have the recipe. If you double click on a pattern, hey, look, here's the recipe for this particular pattern, this one right here. All you have to do is change the tile type. Look at the width and height. You can just type them in, and then you create that pattern. These recipes also have to be captured. We should make a spreadsheet that captures these, but that's further down the road. This type of organization will help us succeed in the long run, will help us become a self-funded classroom. And the same thing's going to hold when we move into all kinds of other resources. This is a huge, I'm going to hit cancel to get out of this. This is a huge undertaking, and the more organized we are here at the onset, the better it's going to be in the long run. All right, thanks for listening. Thanks for your hard work, and I look forward to seeing what you create in a coherent manner.